Today we are going to explore the world of bread, making an extraordinary, yummy but very healthy bread called wheat bread. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a very healthy version of bread that you can eat as a TTC mom. Now this bread is very healthy because first it is made out of whole wheat flour and not white flour. Secondly, it is sweetened with dates and not sugar. I choose to call this bread a one dough but two recipe bread because with the same exact recipe, you can make bread loaves and some bread rolls for yourself. Now, if this is a content you would love to watch, then let me teach you how to make this sumptuous extraordinary bread for breakfast. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So like I said, we are going to be making a very healthy bread for your breakfast today. I love to make almost everything I eat because it gives me the opportunity to know what goes in here. So for the ingredients, I have my date paste, 2 eggs, I have yeast, and I have my scale. I also have my milk, and I would be also using my whole wheat flour. So for this ingredient, you can get it in a supermarket. Okay, it's not readily available, but if you have a good supermarket around you, you can get it. And we are going to be using oil, so we are not going to be using butter for this bread. And trust me, this bread came out absolutely yummy. If you're new to my channel, then I would like to welcome you because this is a channel where you get healthy stuffs for yourself, how to make them by yourself as well. Then if you're old to this channel, you will know that we are very keen on eating healthy, and that is why we are not using butter for this recipe or margarine, but we are using oil instead. And I promise you that this recipe came out very nice. The bread was extra soft and fluffy. So for this recipe, we are going to be using 700 grams of flour, and all the exact measurements will be dropped in the description box. So in case you didn't get it while watching the video, do well to check in the description and you would get the recipe. So guys, what inspired this recipe is that the last time I bought a store-bought wheat bread, it was so strong, like it was very strong, and I was like, why can't I just make this for myself? And that is actually what inspired me to make this bread, and I don't regret it. It was very yummy. And the fun fact here is that I didn't even use an oven. So if you don't have an oven, you are still on your way to glory. Okay, so guys, I removed just a bit of the flour and you would see what I used it for. So you don't have to like measure the quantity you are removing. The main thing is that you are using 700 grams. Okay, so once you measure your 700 grams, just take out like a handful, and you have to watch this video to the end to see how I maximize that flour and also know the reason why I removed that quantity. Okay, so into your flour, you are going to go in with 2 eggs. And this recipe is very rich. It is TTC friendly and it is very yummy. Like, this bread is the softest brown bread that I have ever tasted. Anytime I buy store-bought brown bread, is always hard. Okay, if you don't know, the second name or another name for wheat bread is brown bread. Okay, so you can hear me saying brown bread or wheat bread alternatively in this video, so don't get confused. Okay, so I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of milk, and that is what we are going to be incorporating into this recipe. You can do more or less depending on the availability of milk that you have, but 3 tablespoons it's just fine. Okay, so guys, if you're new to this channel, at this point I want you to like, subscribe and share this video because someone out there might also need this homemade recipe. Guys, everything I use for this recipe is something that you will get in your house. Like this milk is basically the milk that we use for taking breakfast, and eggs you can get it anywhere, your yeast you can get it in the market. And for the date paste, it is not rocket science. I'm going to drop a link in the description on how to make date paste, because this same date paste I taught you how to make it in this channel. So that is the same date paste that I am using. So whatever you see here is not rocket science, it is homemade, and I am teaching you how to make it in this channel, okay, so that when I use an ingredient, you don't get confused on how to get it. It is very much available, and good thing is that you can even produce them by yourself at home. So I poured in the milk into the the flour mixture, like you're seeing in this video. And guys, another good thing about this recipe is that it is very simple to make. You can see basically that I've been just throwing in almost all the ingredients into this bowl, and that is because I'll be using a mixer. But if you're going to be hand kneading this, then you are absolutely still on track, okay. So you are going to follow what I am doing, and when it is time for me to knead with my mixer, all you are going to do is just to knead with your bare hands, okay. I will teach you how to like alternate the process between using hand and mixing manually. So make sure that you watch this video to the end to get every details that you would need, so that when you replicate this bread, it will come out the same exact way mine did, okay. So for your date paste, you'll be needing 120 grams, and it is worthy to note that you can do more or less depending on your tolerance to what sweeteners, okay. So for this date paste, it is natural, like I said, and I just love the combination of this date paste in this wheat bread, because it was so soothing. Seriously, it was very soothing, and I don't know how to explain it, but you need to try it. And should in case you don't have date paste, you can use date syrup or date sugar, okay. So like I said, it all depends on your tolerance to sweetness. So if you want your bread to come out more sweeter, you can as well use like 150 to 200 grams of sugar, of date paste rather, or date syrup or date sugar, depending on which one that you have available, but either of them would work perfectly. So for this quantity that I used to this flour, it wasn't sweet at all. Like it wasn't sweet at all. It was just it tasted so healthy. I don't know how to explain it. So but it wasn't sweet at all. So if you want yours to taste, like if you want the sweetener to taste in your bread, so you can use 150 to 200 grams of your date paste, okay. So this 120 was just soothing. It was just it gave it this I don't know how to explain it, but it was just mild. Yes, it was mild and gentle. It was mild and gentle. So if you're asking why I added water to the date paste, I had to dissolve it so that it will not go and clump in one side. So you don't want one side of your bread to be sweet and the other side does not have any date paste at all. So you want to make it dissolve it so that it can go around, okay. So into the flour mixture, I added 4 tablespoons of oil. 4 tablespoons of oil. Now guys, another thing that I want to pinpoint here is that the use of oil to make this wheat bread is a healthier option than your butter or your margarine, because all this contains what we call trans fat, and it is not a good thing for a TTC mom. So you want to avoid the use of butter or margarine because of the fact that it is what trans fat, okay. You can read more about trans fat in your Google, or also research more about it, okay. So into this flour mixture, I just added my hook to mixer, and then it is just going to do its work. Now I promised you that I'm going to teach you how to navigate your way through if you are actually hand kneading or kneading manually, so to say. What you will do at this point is to incorporate everything, so you're not going to stop at just where I stopped. Okay, so you're going to just incorporate everything, your yeast, your date paste, and then you are going to now, fold it in, mix it until it is crumb like in texture, and then you start adding your water bit by bit until you form a dough. Then you transfer it to your work surface and knead. So it is actually simple and easy to make. Okay, so but if you are using mixer just like me, you're going to follow this process. You can see that I started adding in my date paste, alternating it with water. So I was alternating it with water because the water helped the dough to like form, while I was also putting in the date paste. Okay, so you can see how nice and clean everything came out perfectly well. And I also want to note that I won't be giving any quantity for water because I want you to eyeball this. Okay, because wheat flour differs, so the brand of wheat flour you are using might not be the same brand that I'm using, and some actually absorbs more water than the other. So I want you to eyeball your water. Okay, so eyeball your water, and you can see that I use exactly a very good amount for this quantity of bread that I am making. And this is just 700 grams of flour. And guys, you're going to knead this until the dough becomes, very stretchy, and you are aiming at that stretchy dough because this is what enables your bread to be soft. Okay, so if you want your bread to really come out soft, you have to knead generously. And guys, this is the flour that I took out at the beginning, so this is a time to expose what I would be using it for. But before I say that, I want you to go and subscribe to this channel right now. And if you have any question from the beginning of this video right up till now, you want to drop it in the comment section, and I'm going to answer all of your questions. Okay, and if you don't have a question, just tell me. I love you, and I promise it is going to do a lot of encouragement to me and this channel. So guys, I just tasted the dough if it is as soft as I would want it, but I found out that I still needed you to knead the dough some more. So but you can stop there if that's what you want, but I wanted this bread to be really soft and chewy. Okay, because the one I bought from the store was nothing to write home about. So you can see how stretchy this dough is now, and at this point I can beat my chest and say yes, I am where I want to be. So guys, the flour, let's go back to the flour that I took out. Yes, you would be seeing what I would do with the flour in the next few minutes. So I really want to unveil that part. Okay, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, do that now, ASAP. Do it right now, don't wait till later. Okay, if you are getting value in this video, give us a thumbs up, and now is the moment to reveal it. So you can see that I'm sprinkling some flour onto this dough, and that is to make sure that it doesn't stick to the pan. Okay, it doesn't stick to the bowl. So I don't want to get extra measurement of flour into the measurement I am using already, so that is why I had to take out some of the flour to add to my recipe, so that I won't have to take another batch, you understand, from what I did not measure. So this is to ensure that I am still working with the exact 700 grams of flour, because if I had mixed everything through, at this point I would definitely need flour to work on my work surface. And what it will now make me do is that I would take an extra flour which was not accounted for in the measurement. Okay, so I don't want to add anything extra. That is why I had to take out flour from the one I measured initially. I hope this makes sense to you, okay? And it definitely does. It definitely does make lots of sense, because you don't, this, all this flour now, it will still get incorporated into this dough, okay? It will still enter this dough. So if I had, used up all the flour, 700 grams of flour initially in the mixing, at this point I would have to get some extra flour for my work surface, and that would increase the quantity of flour that I am using in this recipe. And if I had to like increase my sweeteners as per the fact that my flour is being increased, you will find out that it will be difficult. So since I am using the measurement for 700 grams, and the measurement of sweeteners is 120, and yeast is 3 tablespoons, and then oil 4 tablespoons, you will see that that is the measurement for 700 grams, and anything I'm adding now as per flour is going to be an extra which is not accounted for. So that is why you should remove your flour initially from your measured flour, okay? I hope that makes sense. But if you have any question pertaining to what I just said, drop it in the comment section, and I'll be more delighted to answer this question further. So guys, you can see me spreading some more extra flour on the work surface, and then the next thing you want to do is to grease your baking pan. I'm using a silicone air fryer pan, so I'll be air frying this bread. Did I mention? So if you've watched this video to this point, it means that you've gotten yet another value, because this is a no oven bread recipe. I'm not using any oven. So if you have your air fryer just there lying at home, you can put it into use, just like I would be showing you in this video, how to use an air fryer to make not just an ordinary bread, but a very healthy version of bread, okay? So guys, I would be making loaf, and I would also be making some bread rolls, okay? So you can see that for the loaf, I had to also grease the cover of the pan, because if you don't grease the cover of the pan, your bread would definitely seize inside your pan, and you don't want that, okay? So I'm starting with the bread rolls, and for the bread rolls I am measuring 70 grams of my dough, 70 grams of my dough per roll. So you also want to take note of this measurement, because it gave me a very nice and accurate mini size, and it was very perfect. Believe me, it was very perfect. And like I mentioned earlier, this is an air fryer bread, and guys, it was very simple and easy to make. Like, I have an oven at home, but I don't think I'm ever going to be baking bread with that oven again, unless probably I am doing a bigger quantity. And in this channel, I'm also going to be dropping a healthy cake recipe that you can snack on as a TTC mom. So you want to follow me, because definitely that recipe is going to bang. Like always, I am still developing the recipe, and when I come up with it, guys, as usual, it is going to bang. So stay tuned, stay connected, stay with me as always, okay? So like I mentioned, this is the bread rolls, and I am very excited about this particular one, because oh my god, I have a breakfast idea that is already in my mind that I want to use this for. So you can see I have 7 pieces of bread rolls inside here, and it would rise, okay? It will definitely rise. So I'm going to set this aside inside the compartment of my air fryer, and that is because I am using a silicone mold, and when this rises, if I try to lift it, it's going to compress, and you don't want that. So as soon as you pan this bread in your silicone mold, you want to put it inside the compartment of your air fryer. Perhaps if you're not using a silicone mold like I am using, then you can as well, drop it to rise before you put it in the air fryer, just like I'll be doing with the panned bread. Okay, so for the loaves I'll be using 400 grams. Okay, 400 grams. So I would be making two of it in this video. So I'm just going to roll this up, and then I'm going to pan it up in my already greased pan. So please be generous with your greasing. You don't want what happened to me at the end of this video to happen to you. And if you want to know what actually happened to me, that means you will have to watch this video to the end. But please grease your pan generously. And if you have what are they calling it, if you have butter, you can use it to grease your pan. But if you're using oil, be very, very generous. I repeat, be very, 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 very generous. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this bread up and then pan it. So guys, let's ask a quick question. Would you be trying this recipe at home? Have you ever heard of wheat bread made with date paste before? Is this a recipe that you would want to try? And another question I will also want to ask is, are you on a weight loss journey, or you are a TTC mom? Because whichever way, this recipe works. Okay, this recipe is very, very healthy. It is very, very, very healthy. It has no calories at all. It has no calories, and the fact that its sweetener is date paste makes it even extra healthy, because sugars are not good for the health, especially refined sugars. So you can make use of honey, date paste, date syrup, or even date powder. But if you're using a honey for this recipe, then please and please make sure you're not just buying anyhow honey. Make sure you're using a very, very, very good honey, and good honeys don't come cheap. So I would also recommend that you use any of these date recipes. And if you're finding it difficult and it feels like rocket science, then I tell you that this recipe is something you can get in this channel, and I'll be leaving the link for 3 of them in the description box. So do well to check on the description and also find out how to make these 3 natural sweeteners for any of your recipes. You can even use it for your baby. Yes, as early as 6 months you can start giving your baby the sweetener, and it is very, 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 very healthy. Now I'm just going to leave this bread to rise and double in size, and then I'm going to air fry them at the specific temperature and time that I have allocated for this recipe, which worked perfectly. So I'm just going to cover this up, and then I'll allow it to rise, and we'll move to the next step. So at this point my bread is well risen. You can see how nice and yummy this bread looks. Absolutely yummy, absolutely nice, absolutely, absolutely, you can't even tell me otherwise. And this bread was super yummy, and like I said, I enjoyed it more than the one I bought from the store, because at a point I was confused. Is this how wheat bread is supposed to taste? Is it supposed to be all rough and very strong and not enjoyable? So I had a lot of questions, and I decided to buy my own wheat flour and try out the recipe for myself and confirm things. Okay, so I'm going to be egg washing this. So this is just egg. Beat your egg and then use it to just rub on the pan, on the top of your bread. And please, for the one that you're going to be making into a loaf, please do not egg wash it. So this bread, I am going to be baking it in 100 degrees centigrade for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, 100 degrees centigrade for 20 to 25 minutes. So you're going to do 100 degrees centigrade for 10 minutes, and then you check it and then you do another 100 degrees centigrade for another 10 minutes, and then you check it. And then if it is not properly done, then you can now increase to 120 degrees centigrade for extra 5 minutes. So you are going to bake this for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so I hope this timing you understood it. And this is what we have, guys. This was absolutely yummy. It was extremely soft and it was super. And for, excuse me, for the loaf, I'm going to be baking this or frying this for 120 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. So for 20 to 30 minutes rather, 120 degrees centigrade to 150 degrees centigrade for 25 to 30 minutes. So you're going to start with 120 degrees, and then you're going to run that for 10 minutes. You're going to do that again for another 10 minutes, and then if it is not properly done yet, you're going to increase it to 150 degrees centigrade for extra 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how fast your air fryer is. So I hope you understand the timing, because this is very, very tricky. One thing with air fryers is that if you don't get your timing right and your temperature, you're going to end up with a very messed up product, and you don't want that. Okay, like when I actually made this bread first, it was a disaster, because I was already used to so many recipes I was doing, and my air fryer was for 190 degrees, grilling chicken, this and that. So when I just popped in my bread for the first time, I did it for 190 degrees centigrade, and in just less than 4 minutes I started perceiving the aroma of a bakery. And I was happy that, oh wow, this is working, it's very fast. I opened my bread, lo and behold, burnt offering. And guess what? It wasn't done inside. So you don't want that. You want to start with a very low temperature, and 100 degrees centigrade works best for an open bread, just like the bread rolls. And then you can start with 120 degrees centigrade for the closed bread, that is loaf. And you can see how brown and very, very well done this bread is, both inside and outside. And that is because at this point I have understood the temperature to use and the timing, and also the intervals to regulate my air fryer. So if you follow what I'm telling you, it is going to come out good. But if you don't, you are on your way to burnt offering. So I'm just going to slice this up, and then I'm going to plate it and show you how it looks. Guys, this bread was yummy. In all honesty, it was yummy. And the fact that it came out really soft, it gave me a new perspective that wheat bread can also be very, very nice and fluffy. Because I wish you saw the texture of the one I bought from the store. It was strong. I don't know. And fun fact is that this one actually didn't last for, like, it's also, I just made it in a night, and then by the next day it was finished. And that was because it was very, very yummy. The one that we bought from the store, we just left it, and actually from the first day we bought it, it was actually strong all through. So I was curious to know if this is actually what wheat bread is all about, so I had to make mine. Okay, and it came out different texture wise and everything. Taste, it was yummy. It wasn't sweet, it wasn't sugary, although the one I bought from the store was not sugary at all. So this was just perfect. It was very, very, very much perfect. So you can see the bread rolls and the loaf, everything came out very, very nice and fluffy. So I highly recommend this recipe if you want to try out wheat bread at home. So you can see how soft this is. It was nothing close to what I bought from the store. That was very, very strong, and I am not even joking about this. It was very, very strong, and that even led me to practicalize wheat bread at home. Okay, so ordinarily I may not be making this, but when I thought and tasted the one from the store, I was like, no, this can't be my bread. Okay, because I love my bread soft. So I had to do this. And guys, this was the breakfast idea that came to my mind. So I had to do something like a stuffed sandwich using just white and purple cabbage salad, and then I also like spread the bread with some mayonnaise and date paste, and it came out extremely yummy. So this is an idea for you. Bye.